Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we're super happy to have you here. And if you've been listening and enjoying for a while, I would be super grateful if you would please take a moment to give us a review on Apple Podcasts. It's one of the best and simplest ways to pay it forward and help others find the show so that they too can tap into the powerful perspectives and positive vibrations we are collectively emanating. All right, all you positive heads, welcome. Here we grow again. How's everyone doing out there today? I'm doing good, as you can hear. Or maybe I just lost my mind. We don't know. We're still figuring that out. To be determined. I hope you guys are doing well. I just saw a really cool quote. I was at Cafe Gratitude, which is... I don't know how many of those there are. Southern California, there's at least a few. And it's a really cool vegan restaurant where you say, I am, and then order whatever the food is, like stellar or grateful or, abundant. And so just a very, very conscious, cool restaurant. And they have like cool sayings all over. Like I was sitting right under where it said Love, Serve, Remember, which is the Ram Dass Foundation, which actually just got connected with Raghu Marcus, who founded it. And we're going to do podcast swap, and amazing guy. His story's pretty cool. He's a DJ, I think in the 70s, and he started playing Ram Dass. And, people were like, who is this? What is this? I want more. And then he got to be friends with him. And then, later created the foundation when Ram Dass started getting older so that he could, continue his work and support himself because he'd given everything away, I believe. So, yeah, we'll hear the full story, I suppose, when he's on here in a few weeks. But it was cool to be under that painted on the wall, Love, Serve, Remember, name of their foundation. And there was another really, really cool Sufi saying that I saw, and I was like, oh, I wish I'd seen this one before completing the Golden Key, which, of course, those of you who have read it know Modern Alchemy to Unlock Infinite Abundance. It's all about abundance and looking at it from all the different lenses that, all the different forms of abundance. And the Sufi saying is such a cool one. It says, abundance can be had simply by consciously receiving what already has been given. I'll say it again. Abundance can be had simply by consciously receiving what already has been given. Isn't that cool to think about? And it just goes along with the whole idea that, where attention goes, energy flows. So if we start focusing on what we're already grateful for, the abundance that's already in your life, anyone out there listening and you think, irritated, let's say with a lack of financial abundance, for example. Now think of the richest, person in the world who also happens to have a terminal illness in this moment, right now. There's someone out there who's a billionaire. I would say there's probably a billionaire with a terminal illness, and or someone darn close to being a billionaire with a terminal illness, right? And would you change spots with them? I'm pretty sure they wouldn't change spots with you. So who's more abundant? What do you have that makes you just so rich? The family, the friends, the health, and by tuning in and receiving what has already been given instead of always scanning and sifting and looking and searching for something else outside of ourselves, something more to then be at the place where we feel like we've arrived. Right? What a race, what a crazy hamster wheel that is, chasing always the grass being greener, the grass is being greener. And the grass is greenest where you water it. So water what you have, appreciate what you have. What you appreciate appreciates. This is how you instantly are tapping into abundance by receiving what has already been given, and how important it is to receive what has already been given and to receive from others as well. A lot of times we get into this mode. I talked about this recently, where those of us, especially the type of people in our little family tree who would tune into this broadcast, are really good at giving and maybe not as good at receiving because, it's less comfortable. But you need to really work on that, because it is when you come holding your bag of sugar to have it filled, it will be examined to see how large it is. What are you willing to allow to flow in? And how much abundance are you willing to allow to flow into your life in all the many forms it can present itself? So, yeah, loved that Sufi saying, and thought I would just share a little bit. Hadn't seen it before. So today, I think I'm also going to pick up the book Destiny of Souls again by Michael Newton, who he wrote The Journey of Souls first and then Destiny of Souls, which, as a very scientifically minded PhD, he was a counselor, psychologist, master hypnotherapist for 40 years. He then started, taking people through, through hypnosis into past life related stuff, and then what happens after you die, and documenting that, and in over many decades documenting what the structure is on the other side, what's really going on behind the curtain. So I find his books fascinating because it's like, who can say for sure, but it really, to me, makes a lot of sense the way hundreds, I'd imagine, maybe thousands of his patients over the decades, in all the similarities that showed up with him as well. And I think that's really, really interesting. And he documented all this stuff in a very sort of scientific fashion and approach. So we've read chapter 1 from Destiny of Souls on last Friday's episode. So I thought I would read again a little bit today. It's been a long time since I've read anything, and just feeling the itch to do that. And yeah, speaking of, if you guys haven't read my book yet, The Golden Key, Modern Alchemy to Unlock Infinite Abundance, it's so fun to continue to watch it spread out there. Like 1,000 people have created key codes to share it with others, and you can do the same. And with the code POSITIVEHEAD, download the audio or ebook. So can listen to the book in about 3 hours. I actually read the audio book or read it 100 pages or so, a little over 100 pages. So it's a quick read and sort of my distilled version of everything we've talked about for almost 6 years on this podcast now. So 25 years of deep exploration for me. So yeah, get it if you haven't, and create your own code, share with others, play the golden game. Oh, we're about to do also for the golden game, which is basically where at the end of the book, you can choose to pay something for it if you feel inspired to do. And then we use that as a seed to sprout further abundance. And there's all these exercises shared in the book that you go through to drum up more abundance in your life. And so we're actually setting up a Facebook group right now for that, so that we can all support each other, because it's all about maintaining that elevated vibration. Let's all swim in the pool of abundance together. And so I'm going to be in there posting stuff pretty regularly in others. And so, yeah, building more momentum. Lots of exciting stuff there. So stay tuned for that, and go play if you have gotten the book and haven't played the Golden Game yet, go do that at goldenkey.gift. And once again, the book you can get with the code POSITIVEHEAD. So, all right, here's chapter 2, picking up where I left off from Destiny of Souls by Michael Newton. Death, Grief, and Comfort. And then that's the title of this chapter. And then the subtitle is like Denial and Acceptance. Surviving the loss of a love is one of life's hardest trials. It is well known that the process of grief survival involves going through the initial shock, then coping with denial, anger, depression, and finally arriving at some sort of acceptance. Each one of these stages of emotional turmoil varies in length of time and intensity from months up to years. Losing someone with whom we have had a deep bond can bring such despair that it feels as though we are in a bottomless pit where escape is impossible because death seems so final. In Western society, the belief in the finality of death is an obstacle to healing. We have a dynamic culture where the possibility of our loss of personhood is unthinkable. The dynamics of death in a loving family is akin to a successful stage play that is thrown into disarray due to the loss of one of its stars. The supporting cast flounders around over the need for script changes. Dealing with this huge hole in the story left by the departed affects the future roles of the remaining players. There is a dichotomy here because when souls are in the spirit world preparing for a new life, they laugh about being in rehearsals for the next big stage play on Earth. They know all roles are temporary. In our culture, we do not prepare properly for death during life because it is something we cannot fix or change. The apprehension about death begins to gnaw at us as we get older. It is always there, lurking in the shadows, regardless of our beliefs about what happens after death. In discussing life after death on my lecture tours, I was surprised to find that many people who held very traditional religious views seemed to be the most fearful of death. The fear for most of us comes from the unknown. Unless we have had a near-death experience or undergone a past life regression where we remember what death felt like in a former life, death is a mystery. When we must face death, either as a participant or as an observer, it can be painful, sad, and frightening. The healthy don't want to talk about it, and frequently neither do the seriously ill. Thus, our culture views death as an abhorrence. In the 20th century, there were many changes in public attitudes about life after death. During the early decades of the century, most people held traditional views that they had only one life to live. In the last third of the 20th century in the US, it was estimated some 40% believed in reincarnation. This change in attitude has made acceptance of death a little easier for those people who have become more spiritual and are pulling away from a belief in oblivion after life. One of the most meaningful aspects of my work in the spirit world is learning from the perspective of the departed soul what it feels like to die and how souls try to reach back and comfort those left behind. In this chapter, I hope to validate that what you sense deep inside after a loss is not just wishful thinking. The person you love is not really gone. Consider, too, what I said in the last chapter about soul duality. Part of your energy was left behind in the spirit world at the time of incarnation. When your love arrives back home again, you will already be there waiting with that portion of your energy which was left behind. This same energy is held in reserve for unification with the returning soul. One of the significant revelations of my research was to learn that soulmates are never truly apart from each other. The sections that follow illustrate certain methods used by souls to communicate with those they love. These techniques may begin right after physical death and can be very intense. Nevertheless, the departing soul is anxious to get moving on their way home, as the density of Earth does drain energy. In death, suddenly the soul is released and given freedom. Yet, if we have the need, souls are able to contact us on a regular basis from the spirit world. Quiet contemplation and meditation should bring a greater receptivity into the departed and provide your consciousness with a heightened sense of awareness. No verbal messages from the other side are necessary. Just removing the blocks of self-doubt and opening your mind to even the possible presence of someone you love will assist the process of grief recovery. Next section. Therapeutic techniques of souls. My opening case is that of an advanced soul named Tamano, who is in training to be a student guide. He said to me, "I have been incarnating and dying on Earth for thousands of years, and only in the last few centuries am I really getting the hang of how to alter negative thought patterns and calm people." This case begins at the point in our session where Tamano is describing the moments following his sudden death after a former life. Okay, case one. So this is where Tamano is hypnotized, and Dr. Newton is talking to him and asking questions, etc. So I will sort of try and make it apparent who's speaking, because it's kind of like a back and forth. It starts with Tamano. "My wife is not feeling my presence. I'm just not getting through to her at all right now. What is the matter?" So I'll do a little deeper, I'll do a little deeper voice for the doctor, and then just for Dr. Newton, and then higher for the subject. "What is the matter?" "Too much grief. It is so overpowering. Alice is in such a state of shock over my being killed that she is too numb to feel my energy." "Tamano, has this been a recurring problem for you after your former lives, or is it just Alice?" "Right after death, the people who love you are either very agitated or completely numb. In either situation, their minds can shut down. My task is to attempt a balancing of mind and body." Where is your soul at this moment? On the ceiling of our bedroom. What do you want her to do? Stop crying and focus her thoughts. She doesn't believe I could still be alive, so all her energy patterns are in terrible, tangled mass. It's so frustrating. I'm right next to her, and she doesn't know it. Are you going to give up for the moment and leave for the spirit world because her mind is closed down? That would be the easy way for me, but not for her. I care for her too much to give up now. I won't go until she at least senses that someone is in this room with her. This is my first step. Then I will be able to do more. How long has it been since your death? A couple of days. The funeral is over, and that is when I settle down to try and comfort Alice. I suppose your own guide is waiting to escort you home? He laughs. I have informed my guide, Ian, that she would have to wait for me a while, which was unnecessary. She knows about all this. Ian was the one who taught me. This case demonstrates a common complaint I hear from newly released souls. Many are not as proficient or determined as Tamano. Even so, most souls who are anxious to depart for the spirit world will not leave Earth's astral plane until they take some sort of action to comfort those in distress who care about them. I have condensed this client's narrative of how he assisted Alice in her grief recovery in order to focus on the soothing effects of soul energy patterns on disrupted human energy. Okay, now they continue on. The doctor says, Tamano, I would appreciate you taking me through the techniques you use to help your wife Alice with her grief. Well, I'll start by telling you Alice has not lost me. I begin by throwing out a shower of my energy as an umbrella from Alice's waist to her head. If I were a spirit standing next to you, what would this look like? A cloud of cotton candy. What does this do? It gives Alice a blanket of mental warmth, which is calming. I must tell you I'm not fully proficient with this cloaking yet, but I've placed a protective cloud of energy over Alice the past 3 days since my death to make her more receptive. Oh, I see. You have already begun your work with Alice. Okay, Tamano, what do you do now? I begin to filter certain aspects of myself through the cloud of energy around her until I can feel the point where there is the least amount of blockage. I find it on the left side of her head behind her ear. Does this spot have some significance? Alice used to love to have me kiss her ears. When I see the opening on the left side of her head, I convert my energy to a solid beam and train it on that place. Does your wife feel this right away? Alice is aware of a gentle touch in the beginning, but the awareness is fragmented by grief. Then I increase the power of my beam, sending her thoughts of love. Do you see this working? Yes, I detect new energy patterns that are no longer dark coming from Alice. There are shifts in her emotions. Her crying stops. She is looking around, sensing me. She smiles. Now I've got her. Are you finished? She is going to be all right. It's time for me to go. I'll watch over her, but I know she is going to make it through. And that's good because I'm going to be busy myself for a while. Does this mean you won't contact Alice further? Certainly not. I will remain in contact whenever she needs me. She is my love. The average soul is much less skillful than even the most junior of student guides. I will discuss these elements further in Chapter 4 under the sections of energy rehabilitation. Still, most souls I work with perform rather well from the spirit world on a physical body. Typically, they choose to work in concentrated areas using the beam effect described by Tamano. These loving energy projections can be very potent, even from the inexperienced soul, to people who have sustained emotional and physical trauma. Eastern practices of yoga and meditation include the use of chakra body points in ways that resemble how souls partition the human body with healing energy. People who practice the art of chakra healing say that since we have an etheric body that exists in conjunction with the physical, healing must take into account both these elements. Chakra work includes unblocking our emotional and spiritual energy through various points of the body from the spine, heart, throat, forehead, and so forth, to open and harmonize the body. All right. So then there's another one here, another case, but let's see how long it is. Yeah, I think I'll hold off on this case here for, until next time. So pretty cool if anyone out there has lost someone What a comforting thing to imagine, right? Like the perspective of the person on the other side, and just how they're still them, like the frustration and all, like my love isn't hearing me. You know, that's a human kind of thing. So it's pretty reassuring, I find. And especially because there's he's got so many cases and accounts of this stuff. Like this particular book is pretty thick. So yeah, we are floating in eternity, and I am so grateful to float with you. We're going to continue on to know, as he said, that, those you're closest to, your soulmates, you're never truly apart. It's just all this illusion of separation so that we can celebrate the reunification again. And it to really mean something, to give it that contrast. So it's so exciting and inspiring, isn't it? Speaking of exciting and inspiring, one of my favorite music artists just released a new song today. I think I'll leave you guys with that. The artist is Tor, T-O-R. This song is called Eleuthera, E-L-E-U-T-H-E-R-A. Not sure if I pronounced that right, but it's a great song. I hope you enjoy it. Till next time, journey well. Love you so much. Also, quickly, before we cue up today's song, I wanted to remind you to download the Golden Key, audio or ebook, as my free gift to you at goldenkey.gift using the code POSITIVEHEAD.